You think she can play? A maid with a violin? Hilarious. Reginald Strathmore's voice cuts through the chatter of the Hamptons elite, his smirk sharp as a blade. Zora Bellefontaine freezes, her fingers tightening around the silver tray, her smooth brown skin prickling under the gray maid's uniform. The crowd, dripping in diamonds, sipping champagne, turns, eyes glinting with amusement. Reginald, towering in his tailored suit, leans forward, his tone dripping venom. Go on, Zora. Play something simple for us. For fun. Lavinia Strathmore, his daughter, snickers, her perfectly manicured nails tapping her glass. Make it quick. Don't embarrass yourself. Zora's jaw clenches, her teeth grinding so hard her temples throb. She's a shadow in their world, her sleek hair pulled into a tight bun, her presence meant to be invisible. But Reginald's words stab deep, slicing through years of buried dreams. I don't perform anymore, she says, voice low, barely audible. Reginald interrupts, waving her off. Nonsense! Grab that violin from the study. Entertain us. The crowd laughs, a chorus of condescension. Lavinia chimes in. What's next? The cook dancing ballet? Zora's pulse races, her chest tight with rage and shame. She sets the tray down, hands trembling, each chuckle from the guests a fresh wound. Her eyes lock on Reginald's, defiance flickering. She could walk away, stay silent, remain unseen. But something snaps. Her spine straightens, her breath steadies. Fine, she mutters, the word a quiet blade. The room hushes, sensing a shift. Zora turns toward the study, her steps deliberate, each one a spark igniting a fire she's long suppressed. What's she planning? The elite lean in, unaware they're about to witness something unforgettable. Zora Bellefontaine strides to the study, her heels clicking like a metronome, each step a defiance of the laughter still echoing from the gala. Her fingers, calloused from years of scrubbing floors, tremble as she grips the doorframe. But her jaw is set, teeth grinding so hard her pulse hammers in her ears. The elite's mockery, Reginald's smug, for fun, Lavinia's venomous, don't embarrass yourself, burns like acid in her chest. She could crumble, slink back to invisibility, but something fiercer stirs. Her brother's voice, long silenced by death, whispers in her mind. Play your truth, Zora. She yanks open a dusty cabinet, revealing an old violin, its wood worn but gleaming. Her breath catches, memories of Chicago's music halls flood back, her bow once commanding standing ovations. Now it's just her, a maid, facing a room of vultures waiting to tear her apart. Zora's eyes narrow, her fingers curling around the violin's neck like a lifeline. I'll play, she says, voice low, slicing through the air like a blade. But not for your amusement. The words land heavily, a promise laced with fire. Lavinia's laugh falters, her glass pausing mid-sip. Reginald scoffs, but his smirk twitches, sensing a crack in his control. Zora turns, clutching the violin, and heads to a small preparation room. Alone, she opens her brother's leather-bound notebook, its pages filled with her handwritten melodies. Her fingers trace a composition she wrote years ago, a haunting blend of folk and classical, born from pain and pride. Her lips press tight, suppressing a surge of rage and resolve. She tucks the notebook into her uniform, her posture unyielding. As she steps toward the gala stage, the violin in her grip feels like a weapon. The crowd's chatter hums, oblivious to the storm she's about to unleash. Will they laugh, or will they choke on their own scorn? Reginald Strathmore's smirk lingers as Zora Bellefontaine vanishes into the preparation room, her words, I'll play, but not for your amusement, cutting deeper than he'd admit. His fingers tighten around his champagne flute, the glass creaking under his grip. The Hamptons gala hums with elite chatter, but his eyes dart, unsettled. Lavinia, perched nearby, tosses her hair, sneering. She's delusional if she thinks she'll impress anyone. The crowd chuckles, but Reginald's chest tightens, a flicker of doubt gnawing at his arrogance. He brushes it off, raising his glass to distract the guests. To entertainment, he booms, voice sharp. Then a figure moves through the crowd, Eldon Carver, violin virtuoso, his presence commanding respect. Reginald's brow furrows as Eldon leans toward a critic, whispering, That's Zora Bellefontaine. I taught her in Chicago. She was a prodigy. Reginald overhears, his jaw clenching so hard his teeth ache. Prodigy? He snaps, cutting Eldon off. She's a maid. Eldon's eyes narrow, unyielding. She played Vivaldi at 16, better than most professionals. Reginald scoffs, but his pulse races, his collar suddenly too tight. He turns away, signaling for another drink, but Eldon's words stick like thorns. A memory flashes, his failed attempt to fund a Chicago orchestra, whispers of a young black violinist outshining his protege. Could it be her? No, impossible. He shakes his head, but his fingers fumble, splashing champagne. Lavinia notices, hissing, "What's wrong with you?" Reginald ignores her, his gaze locking on Eldon, who slips a USB drive from his pocket, its label glinting faintly. "What's that?" Reginald demands, voice low, slicing through the noise. Eldon smirks, tucking it away. "Just an old performance. You'll see." Reginald's stomach churns, his confidence cracking. He scans the room, spotting Zora re-emerging, violin in hand, her posture like a warrior's. The crowd hushes, their mocking smiles fading. Reginald's throat tightens. Something's wrong. Her defiance, Eldon's words, that USB, they're pieces of a puzzle he can't ignore. His hands clench, nails digging into his palms. He mocked her for sport, but now a seed of dread takes root. What has he unleashed? As Zora steps toward the stage, her eyes burn with a fire that makes his smirk vanish. The gala's about to shift, and he's not ready for what's coming. "You mocked a genius, Reginald, and now the world knows it." Eldon Carver's voice slices through the tense air of the Hamptons mansion study, his finger jabbing at Reginald Strathmore's chest. Reginald's face flushes, his fists clenching until his knuckles whiten. Zora Bellefontaine's gala performance, a haunting violin composition that silenced the elite, has gone viral, her bow strokes exposing his arrogance to millions. "She's a maid," he snaps, voice cracking, but his eyes dart, betraying panic. Social media burns with hashtags. Ours Maid Maestro, Shark Strathmore shamed. His jaw tightens, teeth grinding as he scrolls through the comments on his phone, each one a lash. Billionaire humiliates black prodigy. Lavinia storms in, her heels stabbing the floor. "Fix this, Daddy. They're calling us racists." Reginald slams his phone down, the crack echoing. "I didn't know she was that good," he snarls, but Eldon's smirk cuts deeper. "You didn't care to know." Reginald's chest heaves, rage warring with shame. He paces, his polished shoes scuffing the rug, recalling Zora's defiant glare as she left the stage, violin in hand. He underestimated her, and now his empire's reputation teeters. "Find her," he barks at his assistant, Quinn, who flinches. "I need to make this right." Quinn nods, scurrying out. Reginald tracks down Eldon at a local cafe, his voice low, urgent. "Tell me about Zora." Eldon leans back, eyes cold. "She was my star pupil in Chicago, outshone everyone until her brother died. She vanished." Reginald's throat tightens, his fingers digging into his palms. He remembers his failed orchestra venture in Chicago, whispers of a black violinist who threatened his protege. Was it Zora? He storms to his laptop, searching Zora Bellefontaine violinist. An old article pops up. Young prodigy disappears after tragedy. His stomach churns. Her face, younger but unmistakable, stares back. He calls his driver, barking, "Harlem, now!" In Zora's neighborhood, he hesitates outside her apartment, his polished facade cracking. Knocking, he braces for her fire. The door creaks open, and Zora's eyes, sharp as steel, meet his. "What do you want?" she demands, her voice ablade. Reginald's apology sticks in his throat, his pride choking him. Has he come to fix his mistake, or just his image? Her gaze burns, promising a reckoning. "Play it like you mean it, Jamal." Zora Bellefontaine's voice cuts sharply, her eyes blazing as she adjusts a young boy's grip on a battered violin. In her cramped Harlem apartment, the air hums with purpose, not surrender. Her smooth brown skin glows under a dim bulb, her sleek hair pulled tight in a bun, still clad in the gray maid's uniform from the Strathmore mansion. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding, as she pushes back memories of Reginald's sneer. Play something simple for us. And Lavinia's cackle, her viral gala performance, a soul-wrenching composition that silenced the elite, still burns in her chest, but she shoves it down. Here, she's not the humiliated maid. She's a teacher, a lifeline. Jamal, a wiry 10-year-old neighbor, fumbles a note, his bow screeching. Zora's fingers twitch, itching to guide him. Again, she snaps, her tone a blade but her hand gentle on his shoulder. Feel the music, not just the strings. Her lips hum a faint folk tune, a Chicago melody her brother taught her before his death stole her dreams. She glances at her son, Malik, coloring in the corner, his small face lit with pride. Her mother, frail but fierce, watches from a worn armchair, her coughs punctuating the lesson. You're too good for that mansion, her mother rasps. Zora's fists ball, her nails digging into her palms. It pays the bills, she mutters, but her voice cracks, betraying the weight of her buried talent. She kneels by Jamal, correcting his posture, her movements precise like a conductor wielding a baton. The boy's next note sings, pure and strong. That's it, Zora's smile flashes, a rare spark of joy. Her friend Maya bursts in, her braids swinging, eyes wide. Zora, your video's everywhere. They're calling you a prodigy. Zora's stomach lurches, her fingers tightening around her brother's leather-bound notebook, stuffed with melodies she's hidden for years. I don't want their spotlight, she bites out, her voice low, slicing through Maya's excitement. Maya scoffs, you shook those rich snobs. Own it. Zora shakes her head, her pulse racing. Fame means exposure, judgment, pain, the kind that crushed her after her brother's death, when she abandoned Chicago's music halls for a mop and a uniform. She turns to Malik, ruffling his hair. You want to try the violin? She asks, voice softening. He nods, eyes bright. She hands him a small instrument, her fingers lingering on its worn wood. Memories of her own childhood flooding back. Standing ovations, her brother's proud grin. She pushes the thought away, her jaw tightening. Teaching these kids, giving them what she lost, is her rebellion. Her mother coughs again, weaker now. You're more than their maid, she whispers. Zora's throat burns, her resolve hardening. She opens the notebook, her fingers tracing a half-finished composition, its notes raw with grief and defiance. A knock at the door snaps her back. Reginald Strathmore's shadow looms outside. Her eyes narrow, her grip on the notebook tightening like a vice. Stay here, she tells the room, her voice a quiet storm. She steps toward the door, ready to face the man who mocked her. Will she let him in, or will her fire burn brighter than his guilt? I'm sorry, all right? I misjudged you. Reginald Strathmore's voice cracks, his polished shoes scuffing the threshold of Zora Belfontaine's Harlem apartment. Her eyes, sharp as steel, bore into him, her smooth brown skin taut with fury. Her sleek hair, still tied in a tight bun, frames a face that refuses to bend. She grips the doorframe, knuckles whitening, her maid's uniform creased from a long shift. Reginald's apology hangs weak against her silence. Misjudged? She snaps, her words slicing like a blade. You mocked me for sport. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples pulse. Reginald flinches, his tie suddenly choking, his hands fidgeting. I didn't know you were gifted, he stammers. But Zora cuts him off, her voice low, lethal. You didn't care to know. The air crackles, her defiance a fire he can't extinguish. Inside, her mother coughs from the armchair, Malik peeks from the corner, and Maya stands guard, arms crossed, glaring. Reginald shifts, his arrogance crumbling. What do you want? Name it, he demands, desperate to salvage his image. Zora's lips tighten, her fingers brushing her brother's leather-bound notebook, tucked in her apron. Fund a music school for kids like Jamal, she says, her tone unyielding. Kids you'd never notice. Reginald's eyes widen, his chest heaving with reluctant respect. Done, he mutters, but Zora's not finished. And you'll face what you did, publicly. His face reddens, pride warring with shame, but he nods, palms sweating. As he turns to leave, Zora's hand slips into the notebook, pulling out a folded letter, yellowed and worn. Her breath catches, her brother's handwriting jagged and urgent. They took my chance, Zora, it reads. The Institute, Someone paid to keep us out. Her pulse races, her fingers trembling as she scans the page. The Chicago Music Institute, where she and her brother trained, was tied to Strathmore's failed orchestra venture. Was Reginald involved? Her eyes dart to him, still lingering at the door. Wait, she barks, her voice a whip. He freezes, caught by her intensity. This letter, what do you know about it? Reginald's brow furrows, confusion masking guilt. Nothing, he snaps, but his voice wavers, his fingers twitching. Zora steps closer, the letter clutched like a weapon. Someone ruined my brother's life. Was it you? Reginald's jaw drops, his denial stumbling. I don't know what you're talking about. Maya steps forward, her braids swinging, voice cutting. Then why do you look scared? Reginald's eyes flicker, his composure cracking like glass. Zora's heart pounds, her resolve hardening. The letter's words burn in her mind. Someone powerful, someone tied to Strathmore, sabotaged her brother's scholarship. She tucks the letter back, her gaze locked on Reginald's retreating figure. I'll find out, she vows, her voice a low growl. As the door slams, her fingers grip the notebook, the weight of a buried truth pressing against her chest. Something bigger than Reginald's mockery is at play, and she's just ignited a fuse that will unravel it all. You think you can dig up the past, Maid? Clarence Vinton's voice hisses, venom dripping as he corners Zora Bellefontaine in the dim staff corridor of the Strathmore mansion. His wiry frame looms, eyes glinting with malice, his starched butler's uniform in mockery of order. Zora's smooth brown skin prickles, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her maid's uniform creased from a long shift. Her fingers clutch her brother's leather-bound notebook, the letter inside. They took my chance, Zora. Burning like a brand against her chest. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples throb. I know what you did, she fires back, her voice a razor slicing through his sneer. Clarence's lips twist, his hands slamming the wall beside her head, the thud echoing. You're nothing but trouble, he spits, cutting her off. Keep quiet or you'll regret it. Zora's pulse races, her fist balling, nails digging into her palms. She remembers the letter's words, her brother's scholarship, stolen by someone tied to the Chicago Music Institute, linked to Reginald Strathmore's failed orchestra venture. Clarence, the mansion's longtime butler, was there, pulling strings. You ruined my brother, she accuses, her eyes blazing, unyielding. Clarence laughs, cold and sharp, his fingers twitching toward a keyring at his belt. Your brother was collateral damage, he snarls, leaning closer, his breath hot. Some people don't belong in our world. The words stab, reigniting Zora's buried rage. Years of silenced dreams, her brother's death, her own fall from prodigy to servant. She steps forward, refusing to cower, her posture like a drawn bow. Who paid you? She demands, her voice low, lethal. Clarence's smirk falters, his eyes darting, betraying a crack in his armor. You're out of your depth, he snaps, turning away, but his hands shake, keys jangling. Zora's heart pounds, her grip tightening on the notebook. Clarence's hostility confirms it. Her brother's ruin wasn't random. It was part of a larger scheme, one he's desperate to protect. She notices a folded paper slip from his pocket, marked with the Institute's logo, as he stalks off. Her fingers itch to grab it, but he's gone, leaving a chill in the air. Zora's breath steadies, her resolve hardening like steel. Clarence's threat is a spark, and she's ready to ignite a fire to uncover the truth he's hiding. What secrets does that paper hold, and who else is guarding them? You're digging your own grave, Zora. Clarence's threat echoes in Zora Bellefontaine's mind as she snatches the crumpled paper he dropped, her fingers trembling with fury. Her smooth brown skin prickles, her sleek hair still tied in a tight bun, her maid's uniform chafing like a chain. The paper, stamped with the Chicago Music Institute's logo, reads, Payment confirmed, scholarship reallocated. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples pulse. Her brother's letter, They took my chance, Zora, burns in her memory, and now this note confirms it. Clarence Vinton, the Strathmore butler, was complicit in a scheme to crush her brother's dreams. Her pulse races, her fists balling, nails digging into her palms. "He's not getting away," she mutters, her voice a low blade. She storms to her Harlem apartment, slamming the door, her breath ragged. Maya, her friend, looks up from a laptop, braids swinging. "What's that?" she demands, eyes narrowing. Zora thrusts the paper forward. "Proof Clarence stole my brother's future." Maya's fingers fly across the keyboard, hacking into old institute records. "Got something," she snaps, pulling up an email chain. "Clarence to, Mr. H. Funds secured. Black applicants out." "Disgusting." Zora's chest tightens, rage surging. "Mr. H," she growls. "Strathmore?" Maya shakes her head. "Too vague. We need more." Zora dials Eldon Carver, her old violin mentor, her voice sharp. "Meet us in Chicago. Now." Eldon agrees, his tone grim. At the Chicago Music Institute, Zora strides through the halls, her heels clicking like gunfire. Eldon at her side, his weathered face tense. They confront a retired professor, Ms. Hargrove, who flinches at Zora's name. "I remember you," Hargrove stammers, her hands twisting. "You and your brother. Brilliant. But someone pressured us to cut you both." Zora's eyes blaze, her fingers clutching her brother's leather-bound notebook. "Who?" she demands, cutting Hargrove off. "Names!" Hargrove hesitates, her voice dropping. "Clarence Vinton. He handled donations for a board member." Zora's stomach churns, her grip tightening. "Which board member?" Hargrove shakes her head, fear flashing. "I can't say. They're powerful." Eldon steps in, his voice a whip. "Give us something, or we go public." Hargrove relents, handing over a dusty file. "Old board minutes. Look for Harrington." Zora rips it open, her fingers shaking, scanning pages. A name jumps out. Victor Harrington, a financier tied to Reginald Strathmore's failed orchestra venture. Her breath catches. Harrington funded Reginald's project, and Clarence was his enforcer. "They buried us," she whispers, her voice trembling with fury. Maya, waiting outside, hacks into Harrington's old emails, finding a message to Clarence. "Ensure no threats to our talent pool." Zora's heart pounds, her resolve hardening like steel. They dig deeper, uncovering a ledger showing payments to Clarence for scholarship adjustments. Each entry is a stab. Her brother, other black students, all erased to protect the elite's chosen few. Zora's fingers trace her notebook's pages, landing on her brother's last melody, a haunting folk tune she finished for him. "This ends now," she vows, her voice a low growl. Eldon nods, slipping a USB from his pocket, the video of Zora's winning performance years ago. "This proves who you are," he says, eyes fierce. Maya smirks, "and this ledger buries them." Zora's pulse races, her hands steadying. They've got names, documents, proof. But Harrington's shadow looms large, and Clarence is still in the mansion, guarding secrets. As Zora steps out, clutching the file, her eyes burn with purpose. She's closing in on the truth, but the fight's just begun. What will she uncover next? "You buried my brother's dreams to protect your elite." Zora Belfontaine's voice slashes through the tense air of a Chicago Music Institute archive room, her eyes blazing at Eldon Carver. Her smooth brown skin burns with fury, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her maid's uniform swapped for a plain jacket, but her resolve unyielding. Her fingers clutch the ledger from Clarence Vinton's dealings, its pages damning. Payments to block black students' scholarships, signed by Victor Harrington, Reginald Strathmore's old partner. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples throb. "This isn't just Clarence," she snaps, thrusting the ledger at Eldon. "It's a system." Eldon's weathered face tightens, his hands shaking as he scans the document. "Harrington funded Strathmore's orchestra," he growls, voice low, cutting. "They didn't want competition, especially not from you or your brother." Zora's chest heaves, rage surging like a tidal wave. Her brother's letter, "They took my chance, Zora," now has a face. Harrington, a financier who saw black talent as a threat to his hand-picked stars. Maya, her braids swinging, hacks into a locked institute server nearby, her fingers flying. "Got it," she hisses, pulling up an email from Harrington to Clarence. "Eliminate risks to our legacy, no exceptions." Zora's pulse races, her nails digging into her palms. They erased us, she whispers, her voice a blade, slicing through years of pain. Her brother, a violinist like her, was driven to despair, his scholarship stolen, his spirit broken. She slams the ledger down, the thud echoing. Eldon pulls the USB from his pocket, his eyes fierce. Your performance video, it's not just proof of your talent, it's proof they feared you. Zora's breath catches, her fingers trembling as she recalls her brother's last melody, scribbled in her leather-bound notebook. They killed his future, she says, her voice cracking, but her resolve stealing. Maya's screen flashes, a photo of Harrington with Reginald at a gala, their smiles smug. Strathmore knew, Maya snaps, cutting through Zora's thoughts. Maybe not everything, but enough. Zora's heart pounds, her grip tightening on the notebook. The truth hits like a sledgehammer. Harrington and Clarence orchestrated a decades-long scheme to suppress black talent, with Reginald's money and silence enabling it. Her eyes burn, a fire igniting. They won't hide anymore, she vows, her voice a low growl. Eldon nods, slipping the USB into her hand. You've got the proof. Use it. As Zora steps out, clutching the ledger and USB, her posture is like a drawn bow, ready to strike. Clarence is still out there, guarding his secrets, but she's closing in. What will she do with this explosive truth? You'll never prove it, Maid. Clarence Vinton's snarl cuts through the shadowed office of the Strathmore mansion, his wiry frame lunging as he snatches Zora Bellefontaine's wrist. Her smooth brown skin burns under his grip, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her maid's uniform creased from a long shift. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples throb. The ledger and USB, proof of Clarence's role in crushing her brother's scholarship, clutched in her free hand. Let go, she snaps, her voice a blade, slicing through his menace. Clarence's eyes glint, his keys jangling as he shoves her against a desk, paper scattering. You're done, he hisses, his hand darting for the ledger. Zora twists, her pulse hammering, her nails digging into her palm as she yanks her wrist free. You stole his life, she accuses, her words sharp, fueled by years of buried rage. Clarence laughs, cold and jagged, his fist slamming the desk, the thud echoing. Your brother was nothing, he spits, cutting her off. Just like you. Her chest heaves, fury surging like a wildfire. She remembers the ledger's entries, payments to erase black talent, her brother's name among them, and the USB's video, her own brilliance captured. Clarence's fingers graze the ledger, but Zora kicks his shin, her heel connecting with a crack. He stumbles, cursing, his face twisting with malice. I'll ruin you, he roars, lunging again, his hand grabbing a paperweight, its edge gleaming. Zora's heart pounds, her breath ragged, but her eyes blaze, unyielding. She ducks, the paperweight grazing her shoulder, pain flaring. You're scared, she taunts, her voice low, lethal, as she clutches the evidence tighter. Clarence's smirk falters, his hands shaking. Harrington will bury you, he snarls, but his voice cracks, betraying fear. Zora's fingers tighten on her brother's leather-bound notebook, tucked in her apron, its melodies a shield against his threats. She bolts for the door, but Clarence blocks her, his keys jangling like a warning. Give me the ledger, he demands, his arm swinging. Zora dodges, her posture like a drawn bow, her resolve steel. She shoves a chair, toppling it into his path, its crash buying her seconds. You can't hide forever, she growls, her voice a whip. Clarence's eyes widen, his control slipping. She sprints past, her heels clicking like gunfire, the ledger and USB still in her grip. As she reaches the corridor, her breath steadies, her eyes burning with purpose. Clarence's shouts fade, but the danger lingers. Harrington's shadow looms larger, and the evidence she holds is a ticking bomb. She needs one final piece to end this. What will it cost her to find it? Run, Zora, now! Maya's shout cuts through the Strathmore Mansion's corridor, her braid whipping as she slams into Clarence Vinton, knocking him back. Zora Bellefontaine bolts, her smooth brown skin slick with sweat, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her maid's uniform torn at the shoulder from Clarence's attack. Her fingers clutch the ledger in USB, proof of his role in crushing her brother's scholarship. Her pulse hammering like a war drum. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples throb. Clarence's snarl, "You'll never prove it," still burns in her ears, but she's not stopping. Her heels pound the floor, each step a defiance of his threats. Maya shoves Clarence again, his keys clattering as he stumbles, cursing. "Go!" she yells, buying Zora time. Zora sprints to the mansion's archive room, her breath ragged, her brother's leather-bound notebook bouncing in her apron. She slams the door, barricading it with a chair, its scrape echoing. Her hands shake, but her eyes blaze resolve steel. She dials Eldon Carver, her voice a blade. "I'm trapped. Need you." Eldon, already en route, growls. "Hold on, I'm close." Zora rips open file cabinets, her fingers tearing through dusty folders. She finds a locked box, its label faded. Harrington accounts. Her heart races. Victor Harrington, Reginald Strathmore's partner, orchestrated the scheme to erase black talent, including her brother. She smashes the lock with a paperweight, the crack splitting the silence. Inside, a contract. Payment to C. Vinton for scholarship reallocation, approved by V. Harrington. Her chest heaves, rage surging. Another document lists names. Her brother, other black students, all cut from the Chicago Music Institute. "Bastards!" she hisses, her voice a whip. Maya bursts in, breathless, her knuckles bruised. "Clarence is coming!" she warns, slamming the door shut. Eldon arrives, his weathered face grim, clutching a laptop. "Use this," he snaps, plugging in the USB. The screen flares. A video of Zora's winning performance, her teenage self commanding the stage, her bow dancing. "This proves you were a threat," Eldon says, his voice cutting. Maya hacks into the mansion server, her fingers flying. "Got Harrington's emails," she says, pulling up a thread. "Vinton, ensure no black prodigies rise." Strathmore agrees. Zora's nails dig into her palms, blood prickling. Reginald knew. Not everything, but enough. Her fingers trace her brother's notebook, landing on his last melody, a folk tune she finished for him. "They thought they broke us," she growls, her voice low, lethal. Eldon nods, slipping the contract into her hand. "This nails them." Maya smirks, saving the emails. "We've got them dead." Zora's pulse steadies, her posture like a drawn bow. Clarence's footsteps echo closer, his shouts muffled but fierce. She tucks the evidence into her apron, her eyes burning with purpose. They've got the contract, the video, the emails, undeniable proof of a decades-long conspiracy. But Clarence is closing in, and the gala Reginald's hosting tonight is her chance to strike. As she grips the notebook, her brother's melody hums in her mind, a call to battle. She's ready to end this. But at what cost? "You thought you could bury us, Clarence." Zora Belfontaine's voice thunders across the Strathmore gala, her bow slicing the air like a sword. Her smooth brown skin glows with defiance, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her maid's uniform swapped for a simple black dress. She stands center stage, clutching her brother's leather-bound notebook, the ledger in USB, proof of Clarence Vinton's conspiracy to crush black talent. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples pulse. The elite crowd, sipping champagne, freezes, their smug smiles fading. Clarence, in his butler's uniform, pales, his keys jangling as he steps back. "Lies!" he snarls, cutting her off. But his voice cracks, fear betraying him. Zora's eyes blaze, her posture like a drawn bow. "You stole my brother's scholarship," she accuses, her words sharp, slicing through the silence. She thrusts the ledger forward, its pages projected on a screen by Maya, who stands nearby, braid swinging, laptop glowing. The crowd gasps. Emails, contracts, names of black students erased, all tied to Clarence and Victor Harrington. Reginald Strathmore, in the front row, grips his chair, his knuckles whitening, shame flooding his face. Zora raises the USB, Eldon Carver at her side, his weathered face stern. "Play it!" she commands, her voice a whip. The screen flares. Zora, 16, her violin singing, a prodigy outshining the elite. The crowd's breath catches, their applause faltering into stunned silence. You feared us, Zora growls, pointing at Clarence. You and Harrington crushed us to protect your chosen few. Clarence lunges, his fist raised, but Eldon steps in, his arm blocking. Enough! Eldon snaps, his voice cutting. Clarence stumbles, his face twisting with rage. You're nothing! He spits, but the crowd turns, their eyes cold. Zora lifts her violin, her fingers steady, and plays her brother's melody. Raw and haunting, each note a stab at Clarence's lies. The music soars, her pain and triumph woven into every stroke. The elite rise, clapping, their faces awash with awe and guilt. Clarence collapses, defeated, his secrets exposed. Zora lowers her bow, her chest heaving, her resolve steel. Reginald stands, his head bowed, unable to meet her gaze. The truth is out, but justice isn't done. As Zora steps off the stage, her notebook clutched tight, her eyes burn with purpose. Clarence is down, but Harrington's shadow looms. What's next for her fight? You're finished, Clarence! Zora Belfontaine's voice cuts like a blade, her eyes blazing as she stands tall on the Strathmore Gala stage. Her smooth brown skin glows with triumph, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her black dress a stark contrast to her former maid's uniform. Clarence Vinton, exposed by her ledger and USB, staggers. His butler's uniform creased, his face ashen. His keys jangle, a pathetic echo of his lost power. It wasn't just me, he snarls, pointing at Reginald Strathmore. But the crowd's boos drown him, their faces twisted with disgust. Zora's jaw clenches, teeth grinding, her fingers clutching her brother's notebook, its melodies a shield. You crushed dreams for money, she accuses, her voice a whip, slicing through his excuses. Reginald in the front row flinches, his knuckles white, shame burning his cheeks. Clarence lunges, desperate, but security grabs him, his shouts fading as they drag him out. Harrington made me, he screams, his voice cracking. Zora's pulse races, her resolve steel. The crowd murmurs. Victor Harrington's name, tied to Reginald's orchestra, seals the conspiracy's unraveling. A lawyer steps forward, her briefcase snapping open. Lawsuits are filed, she declares, her tone sharp. Victims, including your brother, get justice. Zora's chest tightens, her brother's stolen scholarship avenged. Families of other black students, erased by Clarence's scheme, receive restitution, their names read aloud, each one a stab at the elite's complacency. Reginald bows his head, his empire tarnished. Zora's fingers trace the notebook, her brother's melody humming in her mind. Justice is done, but scars remain. As Clarence is hauled away, his keys clatter to the floor, a final note of defeat. Zora steps off the stage, her posture unyielding, her eyes fixed on Reginald. He owes more than an apology now. What will he do to make this right? I was wrong, Zora, and I'll prove it. Reginald Strathmore's voice booms across the packed press conference, his tailored suit wrinkled, his face flushed with shame. Zora Belfontaine stands off stage, her smooth brown skin taut, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her black dress a quiet rebellion against her old maid's uniform. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples pulse, her brother's leather-bound notebook clutched like a shield. Reginald's eyes, once smug, now flicker with guilt, his hands trembling as he grips the podium. I enabled a system that crushed talent, he admits, his words sharp, cutting through the crowd's murmurs. Starting with Zora, her pulse races, her nails digging into her palms, the memory of his mockery. Play something simple for us, still burning. The elite, once his allies, shift uncomfortably, their faces tight with unease. Reginald's assistant, Quinn, hands him a document, his fingers shaking. I'm funding a music foundation, Reginald declares, his voice a blade. 10 million for scholarships, prioritizing overlooked communities. Zora's chest tightens, her breath catching, her condition from their confrontation, a school for kids like Jamal, now real. And I'm reforming my staff policies, he adds, his tone firm. No more invisibility. Lavinia in the back scoffs, her arms crossed, but her eyes dart, her influence fading. Zora steps forward, her posture like a drawn bow. Words aren't enough, she snaps, her voice low, lethal. Reginald flinches, his knuckles whitening. I know, he mutters, meeting her gaze. Name your role. Zora's lips tighten, her resolve steel. Advisor, she says, cutting him off. I choose the students. The crowd gasps, reporters scribbling, cameras flashing. Reginald nods, his pride crumbling. Done, he says, his voice cracking. Eldon Carver nearby smirks, his weathered face proud. Maya, braid swinging, whispers, You've got him. Zora's fingers trace her notebook's pages, her brother's melody humming in her mind, a folk tune of pain and hope. She recalls Clarence's downfall, his conspiracy with Victor Harrington exposed, justice served for her brother and others. Reginald's foundation isn't just money, it's a dismantling of the elite's gatekeeping. Her heart pounds, a spark of hope igniting. She could lead this, shape futures, but trust is thin. Prove it lasts, she warns, her voice a whip. Reginald's shoulders slump, his nod heavy. As he signs the funding papers, the crowd erupts, applause mixed with skepticism. Zora turns away, her eyes burning with purpose. She's won a battle, but her fight isn't over. Her brother's legacy, her own talent, demand more than promises. In Harlem, a new school awaits her vision. What will she build with this power? You're stronger than they'll ever know, Zora. Maya's voice rings out, her braids swinging as she adjusts a young girl's violin in a bustling Harlem music school. Zora Belfontaine stands at the room's center, her smooth brown skin glowing, her sleek hair tight in its bun, her simple black dress a far cry from her old maid's uniform. Her jaw clenches, teeth grinding so hard her temples pulse. Her brother's leather-bound notebook clutched like a talisman. Her eyes blaze, not with rage, but with purpose, as she watches kids, Jamal, her son Malik, and others, pluck violin strings. Their notes raw but alive. Her chest tightens, a surge of pride battling the scars of Reginald Strathmore's mockery. Play something simple for us, and Clarence Vinton's conspiracy to crush her brother's dreams. She's turned pain into power. Keep your bow steady, Malik, she snaps, her voice a blade, but her hand gentle on her son's shoulder. His small fingers falter, then sing, a folk melody her brother taught her. Her mother, frail but beaming, watches from a chair, her cough softer now, her smile fierce. He'd be proud, she rasps, nodding at the notebook. Zora's throat burns, her fingers tracing its worn pages, her brother's last composition alive in this room. Eldon Carver strides in, his weathered face lit with pride, carrying a violin case. Your school's a miracle, he says, his voice cutting. You're honoring him. Zora nods, her pulse steadying, her resolve steel. The school, funded partly by Reginald's millions, is her rebellion, a haven for kids the elite ignored. She kneels by Jamal, correcting his grip. Feel the music, she says, her tone sharp but warm. His next note soars, pure and bold. Maya smirks. You're building a family. Zora's lips tighten, a spark of hope igniting. Her fight, exposing Clarence, forcing Reginald's accountability, has birthed this. Reginald, now a reluctant ally, sent a letter. Keep leading, Zora. I'm learning. She ignored it, her focus here, not on his redemption. A girl, Lena, timidly approaches, clutching a violin. Miss Zora, I saw your gala video, she whispers, eyes wide. You made me believe I could play. Zora's chest heaves, her nails digging into her palms. You can, she says, her voice a whip, but her smile soft. She hands Lena a bow, her fingers steady. The room hums, kids playing her brother's melody, their notes weaving a tapestry of resilience. Maya organizes sheet music, her efficiency grounding the chaos. We've got 50 students now, she says, her voice sharp. More coming. Zora's heart pounds, her eyes scanning the room. Her family, built from pain and defiance. She steps to a small stage, lifting her violin. This is for us, she declares, her voice low, lethal. Her bow glides, the melody soaring, blending her brother's folk tune with her own fire. The kids join, their strings echoing her truth. The crowd, parents, teachers, locals, stands clapping, their faces alight with awe. Zora lowers her bow, her posture like a drawn arrow, her eyes burning. Moral lesson: talent and dignity can't be silenced by prejudice. Resilience builds futures where systems fail. Her mother hugs Malik, Maya high-fives Jamal, and Eldon nods, his eyes glinting. The school thrives, a beacon in Harlem, its doors open to all. Zora tucks the notebook away, her fingers lingering on its pages. She's not just a prodigy, she's a legacy. As the kids play on, their music rising, Zora smiles, her fight far from over. What will this new family create next? Zora Belfontaine's bow falls silent, but her melody lingers, a defiant cry against prejudice that shook the elite. Her journey, from a mocked maid to a beacon of resilience, burns bright, her violin slicing through years of injustice. Her school in Harlem hums with kids' music, each note a middle finger to those who tried to bury her brother's dreams. Clarence is gone, his schemes exposed. Reginald's millions fund futures, not excuses. But Zora's fire, her refusal to stay invisible, is the real victory. Her jaw clenches, her eyes blaze, and her music screams. No one defines your worth. This isn't just her story, it's a wake-up call. How many Zoras are out there, their talents crushed by arrogance or systems? You've seen her rise, her strings singing truth. Now it's your turn. What hit you hardest? Zora's defiance? Clarence's downfall? The kids finding their voice? Drop your thoughts below. Your words matter. Share this story, let it spark conversations, challenge assumptions. Hit that like button, subscribe, make some noise. Your voice can amplify hers. To every one of you watching, thank you. Your time, your heart, fuel these stories. You're not just viewers, you're part of this fight for justice, for hope. Zora's school is open, and so are our doors. We'll be back with more stories that cut deep, expose truth, and lift up the overlooked. Until then, keep listening, keep sharing, keep believing in the power of the silence. What's the next story you want to hear? Tell us. See you soon.